Rich, Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? Okay, this is our barn chat. The one from last week got kind of outdated because I couldn't get it up for like 3 days. And yeah, thunderstorms. And I just couldn't get internet service. I was without internet service till like Wednesday. So I didn't get it up. And I took a look at it, and what I was talking about was kind of old and outdated. So I thought, well, let me do this one. So that's what this is all about. Tell you a little bit about a gal that I work with, and some good news with her, and some other things I want to share with you today. So I'll be back in just a second. Let's get this on the road. We're back. And you're all probably going, "What's with the hat?" Yeah, not known for wearing cowboy hats. No two ways about that. Uh, it was a birthday gift from a lady I worked with, and a great lady, really pretty bright gal. She, I guess she's in her mid 30s, and her husband was having some problems. Matter of fact, it had gotten to the point where she was planning on moving back to Colorado and filing for divorce. And so she had talked to me a few times about it, what was going on, and asked my opinion. First thing I told her is, I'm not one for giving advice on marriages, okay? Track record's not all that great, so, there's probably other people out there that could tell you more than I can. But she was, he was from Tennessee, and he came back here. Of course, he was like uh, pig at the trough. I mean, he was back home with family and all this. And she just had a problem with Tennessee. She just was not fitting in real good. Mainly because she was out of Colorado originally. So she had a different accent, so forth. And Tennesseans can be a little strange. Good people, but sometimes it takes them a bit to warm up to you. And so she was having that kind of an issue. And anyway, she was gonna get a divorce. Um, they weren't making the money they used to when they worked out in the oil fields up in the Dakotas and stuff, and different things like that. So it was a bunch of little stuff piled on that had her looking to bail out. And so we talked a little bit about it. And she finally, and I just finally told her, I said, well, here's my personal belief. I said, if the man's not abusive to you and uh, hasn't broke his wedding vows to you, then, you got to keep in mind that you made vows to the man. You made a promise when you got married that this was going to be a lifetime thing, not until it became inconvenient, you know? So we talked about that a little bit. And I told her, I said, today, society has got it set up to where There's no stigma with divorce, and there is no reason uh, once you become emotionally distressed in a relationship. There's no solid reasons to stay with it. It's easy to walk away. I said, but you have to look a little deeper than that, and that is, you made some vows. You said that you were going to do certain things uh, for to be his wife. I said, if you don't stand by those, I said, even the vows themselves cover a myriad of problems, sickness and health, better for worse, richer for poor. All those things cause stresses in a marriage. But as his wife, you're supposed to be there to work through those problems, not walk away because of it. I said, that's just my personal opinion. And so I only work down there on the weekends. And so I guess, I know she went on vacation last week. Uh, and what it was he was down getting a job interview. And they had found a place to rent. He'd gotten a job. The guy wanted to start right away in somewhere outside of El Paso, Texas. So, when she had the conversation with him of where she was at, he got real busy, trying to fix things. And she said that she had thought about it. And instead of just going back to Colorado and filing for divorce, she decided to sit down and say, this is what's bothering me. I'm having a real problem here. And he started trying to make changes. Seems like it worked. And so anyway, my birthday was yesterday. So when I went into work, I found, they said they had something in the office from her for me. And it was this hat in a box with a note. And she was basically, saying that they'd moved to El Paso, and when that she's got my cell phone number, and that whenever they get settled in and she gets regular phones and stuff down there, that she would, make contact with me, so that if I ever wanted to come down and visit, they'd just be a phone call away. She appreciated the advice. I thought that was real sweet. And the hat, to explain the hat. She says, and I'm giving you this hat so that they'll allow you to come into the state of Texas. Because without a cowboy hat, you don't get in. Well, I'd argue that with her, because I know a lot of them old boys from down there wear ball caps. But yeah, I've never had a cowboy hat. So anyway, I got a cowboy hat now. Yeah. But they're giving it a. She's really putting the effort back into her marriage, which I'm thrilled for, because they are a nice couple, and he's crazy about her, And I've met him a couple of times, and you can just tell by the way he looks at her. He's just nuts about her, and she's a good gal, I think they'll do all right. They just had a rough spot, So that was my good news from going to work down there. One of the things I wanted to talk about is Danny had touched on this in one of his port times a couple of weeks ago about getting prepared. That things on the horizon just don't look real good. And man, I'll tell you what, you take a look around at the world and this country in particular, it doesn't look good. I mean, good grief. This nation is so divided. I mean, men and women aren't even getting along. Isn't that crazy? It's divided by race and by genders and all that kind of nonsense. People just they're off in 50 different directions, and everybody thinks their way is the right way, and everybody else is totally wrong. And if you don't believe, that we should throw our borders open and let anybody and their uncle walk in here, in your races, then you got the groups that are just this they range from fascists to communists, out there, and all of them vying for their positions. And of course, you got the government taking full advantage of all of it. So yeah, things don't look real good. Although this country's been in bigger messes than this and has pulled itself up by its bootstraps and it came out of it. Well, I just don't see it happening, you know. So Danny was talking about getting prepared down there at Deep South Homestead, and it's a good idea. You want to be able to take care of your family. I think he kind of worked around what happens when the trucks quit running, when their grocery stores are empty. What are you going to do? And that's a good question to start asking yourself. A couple of things I would have added to that is that in my research, where I was stumbling across some of these laws that they had written starting back in about 2010, having 2.5 years worth of food stored in your house may be an exercise in futility. And here's why. They have laws now that during a crisis, national emergency, even a food crisis, they can show up at your door and take your personal property right down to your food. Okay? Now, these laws were written, starting in like 2010. Why would they write a law that they didn't have a plan for? They just don't pull those things out of the air. The laws are on the books now. So is this a plan? Could be. So if you got 2.5 years worth of food stored in your house and you feeling pretty confident about your ability to survive, now that food may only last as long as until the knock at the door. Okay. And your job is to take care of your family and keep them safe. You're not going to do that if you start a war with a paramilitary group trying to defend your home from your mailbox. All right, they're not going to play with it, and your kids could get hurt, your wife could get hurt. Something to think about. Sometimes passive resistance initially is the best act of valor. Okay. So, with that kind of thinking, have your food stored other places than just your house. Have some stashes around. Okay, it's going to be hard to find. That way, if they take your main house storage, you still have some fallbacks. Learn what native plants are in your area. What's edible? What can you fix? And start practicing with it. Because you can make some pretty decent meals out of stuff growing out there in the woods. What seasons do you need for it? Things of this nature. To make it taste good, to where it's a decent meal. Take like around here, poke salad and scrambled eggs, man. That's good stuff. All right. Got a chicken that's laying eggs. You got some poke growing up in a creek bed or along the side of the road. You're set. Okay. But you have to know how to prepare it and how to, what it is and how to find it. Those are skills you need. Okay. If things get rough, those are skills you're going to need. Start practicing them. Okay. Does your wife know how to cook poke salad and make it safe? Because if you cook it wrong, best case scenario, you're going to get sick as a dog. Worst case scenario, it can be poisonous. Cooked right, it's totally safe and good. All right? These are things you need to learn. Concentrate on that. Start looking at that. And yeah, I would start out looking at, in your area, the native plants. What is usable? From that, you might want, if you got some land and so forth, what can I plant out there that's going to look like part of the landscape that doesn't necessarily look like food? But it is. But to an untrained eye, it's not. Start thinking along those lines. Could I grow some grain along this creek bed? You know, is there a sunny spot in the woods there where I could put in a little food plot? Things of this nature. All right. Where it's out of sight, out of mind, yet you're still producing food for your family. Okay. Something to start thinking about. If none of this, you know, if this country doesn't continue to devolve and turn into some kind of nightmare, worst thing's going to come of it is you're going to be better educated. You may find that some of those natural edibles are pretty good stuff and you really enjoy them. But so you have extra food around. you know? Yeah, what's the problem with that? Save on the grocery bill. But if it does go south, guys, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be something you're going to need to know to take care of your family. Otherwise, you'll be down there at the FEMA camps with your hands out for a bowl of food, so your kids aren't starving. Right. Yeah, like I said, some of you guys with your ARs and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, gentlemen, you're not going to defend your home from your mailbox. It's not going to happen. Okay, they got too much firepower at their fingertips. That's the last battle you want to start, because you could end up with your whole family dead. For sure, you start shooting, you're probably going to end up in a box. And then what good are you to your family? Okay? Like I said, passive resistance sometimes may be your best course. All right. So kind of keep those kind of things in mind. I mean, even some of these groups out there that are formed up, these communities where they've got defensive plans and plan to stand their ground if they have to. All right. Even they have plans B, C, D, and E, because they know that after the initial confrontation, should they win, they know that the government's going to be coming right back at them. This time better prepared. All right. And this time they're going to strategically try to take that location out. And they're probably going to succeed if you're there. So they have the plans of hit and run. Okay. Make their initial stand and get bug out. Okay. Don't be there when they come back, because that's not going to be a good thing. So start thinking what ifs. All right. What if this country goes crazy? If it can get much crazier. All right. And be prepared to take care of your family. That's it in a nutshell. Being a survivalist is a good way to go. If you know how to get out there in those woods and trap and hunt and what plants are edible, you can I mean, look at our forefathers. That's how they lived, folks. All right? There wasn't grocery stores. You know? I mean, when these guys originally went out in those wildernesses for the first time, there wasn't even trading posts out there. There was nothing. There was a wilderness. And they lived out there. All right? So it is doable. Me, I don't know how to do without coffee. But, you know, I'd be a grumpy old son of a gun. But, yeah, start thinking along these lines. Build your skill set. Know that, yeah, I can survive out there in the woods if I have to. All right. It's worthwhile information. So, to add to that, and if you didn't go through and see that porch time Danny did down there at Deep South Homestead, take a look at it. He has some pretty solid information. And it's time to start thinking along those lines. Don't want to sound doom and gloom, but being prepared is nothing more than having the skill sets and the ability to take care of your family come what may. That come what may could be a huge natural disaster that stops the trucks from rolling and the grocery stores to go empty. Okay. Kind of think about that a little bit. And I think you'd be a little wiser for it. But like I said, if you're one of those fellows who thinks you're gonna get out there and battle it out with them, I can tell you now, they can bring too much to the table in a quick heartbeat on you, and you're not gonna win now. Okay, you might win an initial skirmish, but you better be gone by the time they get back, and you're probably talking hours. Okay, and they're gonna be looking for you. So, uh, another skill set: escape and evade. Okay, how do you do that? What's the best ways to do that? All right. So be studying. If you don't already have that as in your little skill set toolbox, you might want to put it in there. Because if it really goes bad, you may need to know those things. Lack of knowledge. Just remember the fellows that are going to be looking for you, they're playing the other side of that book. How to find you. And you're pretty good at it. Okay? So kind of start thinking along those lines. Build your skill sets. Like I said, if nothing goes on, you got extra food, and you're a little wiser than you were before you started. Nothing wrong with that. If you need it, it could be the difference between life and death for you. So that's my wish for you, is that you walk out there in one piece. Take a look at Danny's porch time if you haven't looked at it, like I said, a couple of weeks ago. And then start thinking. Okay. Start preparing. Be ready. This world's gone a little nuts. And there's a whole bunch of scriptural reasons to believe it. But scriptures aside, this world's kind of degrading a little bit. Society's beginning to break down. And, it may pull itself back up by its boots, and yet it may not. So be prepared. Don't get caught. And I'd found some lists of things. Matter of fact, something I thought I'd lost a long time ago. Some quotes from my grandmother, great grandmother. I'm gonna start sharing with you. Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of interesting. Some are worded a little weird, but you got to figure that's from the day and the time. The way these, my great grandmother talked a little strange herself, and it was because they used a little better grade English down here with a little bit southern drawl. But I thought I'd start sharing some of these with you. And this one I always thought was a good one. I was always told by my great grandmother that if I wanted to learn and become a wiser man, to learn to keep my lips shut and my ears and my mind open, and to listen to people. Okay? And I found out there's times where you listen to them and you finally come to the firm conclusion, this person's a complete idiot. There's other times where it changes your opinion. Kind of points that maybe you were being a little stupid. So let me give you one of the quotes. I think you'll enjoy it. It's go placidly amidst the noise and the haste, and remember there's peace in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly. And listen to others. For even the dull and the ignorant, they too have a story. Found that to be pretty true. Okay? It's always nice to listen to both sides. You learn things. Okay? So, that's one of the quotes I kind kind of grew up with, something to think about. I didn't want to write that one down and save it. But yeah, prepare, folks. Get ready. And let's pray that you don't really ever need to use it. But it's sure not looking good right now. Okay? Just take a look at the world. And it's got to make you step back and go, this don't look good. People are too divided. And when you get a people this divided, the evil people find it much easier to take control of the situation. Keep that in mind. And look around you at the condition of the world. Begin to wonder what's really going on here. Okay. Anyway, that's my barn chat for today. And I hope you got some use out of it. But I hope it makes you start thinking. Let me know what you think of the hat. Never had a cowboy hat. Anyway, so you folks have a great week, and hope everything's going good for you. And I love you guys and appreciate you. And we'll talk to you real soon.